And the last question for you today, on the day the world's leaders are meeting for the G7 conference. The Biden administration's theme has been that America is back. It's back to its traditional leadership role. Uh, I'm curious whether you and others you speak with in Australia and around the world feel that that's entirely so, or there remains a concern that the sharp populist explosion that created the Trump presidency remains a concern that going forward you're going to worry about.
I think around the world, people still worry about, US politics, the hyperpartisanship in the US, the seeming continuing inability for Congress to come together even over national interest goals, and what that might mean for long-term electoral prospects, not necessarily the return of President Trump himself, but that politics clearly hasn't completely vanished out of the US landscape. And so I think allies and friends of the US around the world are concerned about that and would obviously want to see a United States that is more unified and more able to get big things done with political consensus from, if not everyone, at least enough of both sides of the aisle. So some of the things that the US has been famous for in the past, finding those compromises, that can come back into more political fashion than it's been in recent years. Having said that, I think the Biden administration has obviously been welcomed with open arms around the world, because people know that this is an administration where what you see is what you get, and when President Biden speaks, that there will be clarity, there will be follow through. The US will have a clear strategy, and you don't have to worry about unpredictable reversals in policy or, odd things happening, if I can use that terminology. Um, you know, as important as the US is, and it is incredibly important, obviously the Trump administration and where the US has been one big factor in the world. There are other big factors changing in the world. We've talked about one, the comparative strength of China and its diplomatic outlook. Of course, how technology is continuing to remake information streams, the power of technology companies, the remaking of the world of work. All of these things are being experienced by nations everywhere. And so I think how the US navigates this new environment. So the US is back, but back in an environment that is complex, fragmented, and where showing American leadership is, not as easy as it might look, because every issue is a complicated one. The pandemic's complicated, climate change is complicated, the ongoing structures of the world in terms of diplomatic architecture are complicated, the geopolitics is complicated, and so on.